Okay, so we're going to talk about events and event listeners. One of the program elements you'll be working with most is called an event. So, events are things that happen, such as mouse click, key press, a video's loader, and etc. etc. So, what the first thing you need to do is you need to create a little file like I have here if you want to work with me. I just brought this image in from the internet, just a little skater here. I called this skater border. As you can see over here, I made him into a movie clip. And then in the properties panel, I'm going to select them on the stage. And in the properties panel, it's going to pop up and it's going to show you that the movie clip. And I gave it an instance name. You have to give it an instance name. I gave it an instance name, a borderline underscore MC. So if you want to follow along with me, name your image the same thing. So, and add handlers of functions that run when a particular event occurs. So in this project, I have this skateboarder, which I call border, that I created and turned into a movie clip. I gave it an instance name, a border MC. So you have to open up the action layer. Let's go ahead and open that. Windows Action. Okay, in the very first keyframe, make sure you're in the first keyframe on the action layer right here. And the very first keyframe, I'm going to add a keyboard control to the border. So I want to make this border do something, this skater do something. To be able to respond to an event, you need to add an event listener. This tells an object to wait for a particular event to happen. So I'm going to connect the border to the keyboard. So I want to make the border go across the stage when I select any key on the keyboard. So what I want to do is when I preview this, I want to be able to select the skater on the board and hit any key and have it go across the stage. This is a very simple event, but sometimes simplicity is the easiest way to understand how to do things. So key presses are controlled when connected to the stage. So it's controlled from the stage. So the very first word I'm going to put in is going to be stage because that's where the event is going to take place. So go ahead and write stage, followed by a dot. So once we do that, then we have to add the event. So you have to type an add event listener. So now we have to identify what we want to do. So we add the event listener, and the event that we want to listen is called keyboard event key down. So that's what we want to happen. We want keyboard event key down. You have to be very specific when you're working with this program, what you want it to do. So we're going to go ahead and write that now too. Go ahead and write keyboard event. You have to put the little parentheses in first. Keyboard, capital K, E, Y, capital E. And now these have to be capital letters. You know, it's like any kind of language. It has to be written in a certain way. And then a space and key press. Whoops, make sure you spell things right. Parentheses again. Okay, and then we're going to go down to the next line. So I have to really check this carefully, make sure I wrote this right. Stage, add event listener, keyboard event dot key underscore down, column key pressed. So now we're going to go down to the next line. So an event listener connects an event, and the event here is keyboard event key down, which represents when a key is pressed to a function, which is called key press. When you add a listener, you're now able to respond to that key press. Now we need to create the function, what we want to happen. We have to create the function. So we type the word function, then a space, and then type key press, just as I typed it above. So you have to be very careful as you're typing to make sure that you do not type anything incorrectly. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to write function. And you notice the second you do that, it changes color. And I'm going to write key pressed again. You can actually copy and paste this. So we have function key press. And then we're going to write EVT, place a parenthesis and then type EVT. This is the parameter that responds to the event that occurred. This is data that is going to be sent to the function when a key is pressed. And it's going to have information about the event that occurs, which is going to be key press. So you type a colon, type keyboard event, a close out, parenthesis, type column, and then void, all lowercase. So I'll just write this out so you can see what I'm got here. So EVT. Now this is lowercase, and it's trying to help me. I'm just going to write this out so that you can see it. And then we write void. Now you notice that as soon as we do this, it automatically puts up at the top. Flash automatically knows or emanate whatever program you're using. You're going to import Flash events, keyboard event. It'll automatically do that for you. Again, you want to check and make sure that you spelled everything correctly. Function key pressed event, keyboard event, void. And we're going to go down. Just if you want it, I'll slow down here for a second just so that you can catch up. I'll give you a couple of minutes here so that you can keep up if you want to keep up and do this as I'm working with this. Now we're going to put in our curly brackets. We're going to put an open curly bracket, and we're going to type border underscore MC, which is going to be still lowercase. Put a dot, an X, a plus equals 5. So this is going to move the border 5 pixels to the right at a time. Each time that we press the keyboard, it's going to move it 5 pixels to the right. We can change that if we want to make it faster or slower. It just depends on what we want to do, but it just looks a little better just doing it at 5. So we're going to go ahead and undo that. And you just follow along with what I'm doing here. Go down to the next line. You notice how it automatically makes an open and close for you. And then we're going to write border. Like I said, a lot of it is just copy and paste. But for this one, I'm going to write this out. BOARDER. Make sure you spell everything correctly. So you make the little dot and put in the X. And you see how it changes colors. And we're going to put a space in. We're going to put plus equals 5. Now you can change this to whatever you want, but for this I'm going to use 5. Like I said, it will make a difference whatever you decide to do. So make sure everything again is spelled correctly. You want to go through this and check this, and then make sure you haven't made any mistakes before you test it. So this is a very simple event listener connecting an event to a function, which is called an event handler. And inside of that function, we have moved the border. So events are the backbone of Emanate. And by applying event listeners to objects, you can control what code is executed and when an event will occur. So let's go ahead and test this. Let's see what it looks like. Alright, so we just have to select them on the stage. Now you can hit any key that you want. So this is at 5. Let's see what happens if we change the number. I'm just curious. We go back to the image. Let's just change this to 10. Now let's collect the guy. And you can select. See, it's moving much faster. If we hold it down, he'll just go right straight across and up to the finish line. Okay, so that's it. We're going to do one more of these. I'm going to stop here. Okay, so we're going to work on conditional statement. Conditional statements allow you to specify a block of code that runs only if a particular condition is met. This powers many types of code, including code for games. We're going to go back to our previous movie. It's the movie that I have here. If you remember, this is our little border here. In this movie, I can press any key to make the border move to the right. And it doesn't matter what key I press. Suppose I only want to move them to the right when I press the right key and move them to the left when I press the left key. So as you see in the code here, I have adds an event listener to the stage, listening for the keyboard event, key down event, and then it runs a function called key press. So instead of key press function, we did this in the previous tutorial, I can use the conditional statement to select the key I want to press. So above the border _MC line of code, press return to get a space above that code and type the word if in lowercase in parentheses. Don't change the code that says border _MCX. You're going to wrap this code border MCX inside curly braces. And then we're going to tab _MCX so you can see it better. So let me just go ahead and do that and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So right here, I'm going to go down. I'm going to write if, and then I'm going to put the little parentheses. I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and I'm going to just go over a little bit. I'm going to put a little curly, and underneath this one, I'm going to put the other curly. I'm going to move this over a little bit so you can see it. Just move both of these so that you can see it a little better so it doesn't get too confusing. So you can see what we're doing here. Okay, so I'm going to go back inside my parentheses here, and I'm going to use EVT, which is the event that gets received. So event.keycode and 2 equal signs. So we're going to go ahead and write that. Capital C and 2 equal signs. So 1 equal sign is used to set a value, like when you're setting the value for a variable. And 2 equal signs is a comparison operator. Instead of being is, like what 1 equal sign means, 2 equal sign mean is equal to. So we use 2 equal signs in the conditional statement. So event key code is equal to, and then a space, and the right key command. So we have to put the right key command in, which is keyboard right, and the right is in all caps. So we're going to go ahead and write that. So we're going to go keyboard dot right in all caps. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what this does. If we view this, then when I select the right key, the little boy, the little skateboarder should go to the right only when I select the arrow. So go ahead and test your movie and see what happens. So when I select him, there he goes. He only goes to the right. I can select any other key and it doesn't do anything. So now we want to make them move to the left. So an easy way to do this is just to copy and paste the whole code that we just did and make sure we include the curly brackets. We don't want to forget those, and paste it. Now we will have 2 statements. So we're just going to change the keyboard right, the keyboard left, and the pasted. So let's just go ahead and select this. You got to make sure you select the whole thing. Right click, copy. Okay, so instead of right, I'm going to change this to left. Make sure it's all caps. Okay, so now I still have a plus sign here, so that means that it's going to be confused. The file's not going to know what to do because we're asking it to go backwards instead of forwards. So plus, the plus sign in the border underscore MCX means that it's going to go to the right plus 5 pixels. So now we want it to go to the left minus 5 pixels. Let's just put a little minus here. Okay, now we're telling it we want to use the left keyboard, the little arrow that points to the left. So let's go ahead and test this and see what it does. So I'm going to select my guy, go across the stage, I'm going to stop him, and I'm going to go back. Okay, so that's all that is to making a conditional statement. Sometimes I just like to do a little simplicity, something that's simple, so that you can have a better understanding of what you're doing. So practice with this, and you can practice doing this in your own projects. So I'm going to stop here.